Back in the day around 2016, I was sort of web surfing on YouTube, basically not focusing on anything or looking for nothing very specifically till I found this sort of video from a Miraculous Central who basically dubbed all fan comics or any comic they actually like. And one of them was actually dubbed called the Miss Ladybug and the Thrill of the Hunt AU. I never heard of AAU. I really never was interested when I actually finally clicked that video. Yeah, I was sort of surprised how deep, interesting, sincere, and loved about the franchise AU, but at the same time actually developed something completely unique by itself by a fan. And this is the reason why I kind of fall into this hole of looking for more AUs ever since. I never was super obsessed, but the more I keep looking at it, the more I want it more. Especially this specific AU, because Thrill of the Hunt was very popular. Something that if you were a normie or you sort of knew about Miss Ladybug but didn't know how popular it is, because when you find something by accident, if you never was in a group, it does intrigue you, wondering what is this and why it's so popular. When you actually go into it, you'll be surprised how good this sort of kind of AU really is. Of course, some of you are wondering, because not everybody is sort of nerd savvy. Basically, AU or fan AU basically means another universe for a fan, or looking for a specific IP like Looney Tunes, Scooby-Doo, all different universe. A different take. Sometimes sort of switching some characters, switching to a main character to a side character, or maybe putting a completely different genre, or basically mean the different character, different situations that never could be in the main line. But you can see the possibility you can make it more interesting. That's basically what AU is. It's just sort of a playground playing with your favorite IP, in other words. And this one does the same thing, but it sort of ended almost automatically was super popular. Well, any results, even that, it still lingers in my own mind because how good it is. In fact, I did believe maybe I was sort of overhyped, maybe because I wasn't expecting it, maybe the reason why I really did enjoy it. I rewatched and read the original AU of Thrill of the Hunt, and I was really surprised and endeared how still it is good. Unfortunately, it never have a conclusion after 3 chapters. But other than that, before I breaking down and explaining what this really is, my name is Rachel. I like to talk about animation, not just animation, to reviews, first impressions, cartoon theories, and sometimes, if I have some spare time, cartoon breaking news. Of course, you like how it's going, like to help my channel, pull like, comment, and subscribe. That's the only thing you need to do. If not, that's fine. If you do, thank you, because of you, I'm getting close to my main goal of 2,000 subscribers. And yes, I'm getting close every single day because of people like you. People put like, comment, and share. Thank you. Now let's start to explain what is Miss Miraculous, a Thrill of the Hunt AU. Of course, before I actually get started, I'm going to sort of introduce what's the IP, who is the creator of this AU, the characters, and the breakdown of this AU, and my final thoughts. That's how we go down. Now let's start with the first step. Of course, I will explain what this sort of IP really is really fast, because let's face it, not everybody is sort of cartoon savvy, so I can explain this sort of quickly. Basically, what is Miss Ladybug and Cat Renard? Basically, you follow 2 teens in high school who given a gift of a miraculous who let them transform and defend Paris from this evil other villain called Hawkmoth, who basically kind of affects normal people, use their emotion and manipulate and give them power to destroy whoever pissed them off. So Mothma can basically lure the 2 heroes that can take their own miraculous and make his own wish to save his own wife. But the only problem is he had to quite literally hurt people while knowing hurting his own son would be Cat Renard, and also have the love interest between Cat Renard and Miss Ladybug, not knowing who they are in real life, but knowing they actually work together. And that's basically the whole synopsis of that specific IP. A very simple idea, but how it's set up in so many different directions, you could see so many possibilities. And I think this is the reason why a lot of fans see it and decide to rechange sort of things to make it sort of interesting of their own AU. And I think one of the big example, it will be Kubu, the creator of The Wild Hunt from Miss Ladybug AU. And honestly, this is the point I give you a lot of fun facts, information, why they inspired in a lot of things. The only problem is Kubu doesn't really answer any questions. He doesn't have question and answer, ask me anything, I can answer it or anything like that. This is sort of, he just posts stuff. He just sort of says, thank you for liking my work, and that's it. So I don't know much who this person is and the reason why he created, besides being a fan. But being that said, the idea itself is so unique and refreshing that I was sort of surprised they actually pulled it off, because Thrill of the Hunt is basically this character called Elias Gray, who, best way to describe, he's basically Batman of this world, but not being Batman. He's sort of a very famous Canadian musician who went to Paris hunting down one specific person who did them wrong. Not being wrong, I mean he quite literally killed all his family and friends, and now he wants vengeance. But the only difference is he's similar to Batman, yet different, that he wants to basically kill off all the people who harm him, but at the same time he has sort of almost mystical powers, transforming as a wolf. But not just that, you also have other two more characters who actually help balance Elias to be less edgy. I think one of the biggest characters and helped balance this out is basically River, the circus performer, that she's sort of a teenager worrying about her father, who is basically the one who run the circus, but he got basically arrested and charged to the murders of Timberwolf, but he had nothing to do with. This is why River wants to hunt down Timberwolf to see the situation. On top of this, you have a third character who makes this sort of mystery more interesting of this AU, called Detective John, that he actually have more stuff hidden. They actually tell the truth, the situation he actually is. Basically, he's sort of kind of like Nick Fury from the Marvel Universe. Yeah, you could see the comparison side to side. But although that all three characters are sort of cliches you see DC or Marvel type of characters, but yet it made it work with Miss Ladybug and Cat Renard, just the way they just grab your attention. Because at the very end, you would think it would go too dark. For example, like Timberwolf, that you think he was going too emo, too dark. It feels they're trying to do something like Berserk, like Guts, because if you don't know sort of the phrasing or the meme of it, everybody want to become sort of the main lead of Berserk, like Guts, but every time they try to do something like Guts, it became Sasuke, so something memeable, ridiculous, and sort of killed the main character vibe, even caring about it, just making fun of it. But no, they make it sort of not like Guts, almost like Shadow the Hedgehog, sort of likable, interesting, and fun, but yet you understand his emotions and feelings and anger just well enough that you cannot really make fun of it, because it is well executed. And I think it's because the other two characters who introduce and balance him out in this specific AU, because it really can easily be super edgy, super emo, but no, how it was sort of illustrated and written off this AU, you totally believe this character could be in the original main line of the original IP of Miss Ladybug and Cat Renard done right. But I love it, they never flannelize the two main leads either. Cat Renard and Miss Ladybug are actually well written. Also, even that added more interesting depth about them that you don't realize, but you see it. You like, even this sort of 3 chapters, it didn't have the chance to finish it. You could see the little hints here and there of their own development, seeing something is wrong, but never really attempted to kill off their basically personality. And I think this is the reason why this AU blew up. It understand the original characters, understanding put this sort of dark twist and it can actually kill it off, but they understood Miss Ladybug and Cat Renard is sort of kind of cheesy, dorky, but humble and hopeful, and they never let go of that. They have that mentality of you have that sort of edge, kind of darkness, but everything is sort of Norbit. But because it's Norbit, you can have hope, and that's sort of the original Berserk sort of style. Everything is just dark and basically melancholy. But the reason people keep reading that book specifically is because it has hope, it has honesty, it's very tender because when something bad happens, something sweet happens against it. Something to make you want to fight even more or read more of the character because you know the character is growing. And that's sort of the logic they use writing this AU. It's done so well, so mature. Even I have to say better of the original version of Miss Ladybug and Cat Renard. In fact, I'm surprised they didn't hire this specific creator of this U to work in the original Miss Ladybug and Cat Renard show because these 3 chapters are very well written. Of course, let me talk about the whole story of this AU. Now, the first chapter is basically Marinette, or aka Miss Ladybug, running out fast to get to school before she gets the station and being late. Doing this, she accidentally meets our main lead character called Timberwolf, or aka Elias, the famous singer. But this is the first time they meet, but this met was sort of kind of jaded because Elias, he's the best way to describe it. He's sort of incendiary, angry, bitter, jealous, but yet he doesn't feel over exaggerated. He just doesn't like Marinette and all her goofy, positive, happy going life. He kind of rubbed him the wrong way and tells her out automatically, but yet she didn't realize it's basically the famous singer and also one of his new students living in her own school. To actually get to know him, who he is, and how manipulated and headstrong he really is. But you think these 2 characters would not balance, but no, they do. Not just balance, they have a very great chemistry that I was sort of surprised how well written, smart, and character driven could actually be. Because Marinette does bounce so well with Elias, that positive outtake, given a second chance, and how Elias is completely opposite of her. The chemistry, the just conversation of them, it's just so interesting. He also allow Elias have layers, depends what person he needs to talk to, and to see him how very kind of in the darkness he really is, but at the same time how manipulating he really is, whatever he needs from you or whatever person he talks to. You could see the only one who could see this is Marinette herself and calling him out being a sort of a horrible person, but this sort of conversation is not one-sided. The chapter do explore Elias' sort of bitterness, why he hates people, why he needs to hunt down this sort of person called the barber who wants to actually off him because he kills his whole family. They try to go in detail, but they sprinkle a little bit here and there to understand why he is how he is. You have deep thinking about him, but also understand why he acts a certain way, and how Miss Ladybug or Marinette befriends Elias, but not like automatically. It takes a couple of chapters to really understand their relationship and why Elias is doing the same thing. But not just him. The reason why they balance, not just Marinette, the other character will be River, the circus performer, that is the daughter of the circus leader who are now being arrested and protected of Detective John. That she knows who is basically Tenderwolf and the reason why he's doing certain things and why her father help of Miss Ladybug to help her doing what she need. But because of her personality, how strong she is basically a Harley Quinn knockoff, but done sort of unique in understanding why she works so well with Tenderwolf. It's because she's the one who cuts down Tenderwolf, comes down his sort of edginess, how he's so emo, calling him out every single time he does any horrific things, like bullying Marinette, and River stands up for her and basically eliminates him or take him down every time she actually has a chance. But it done it a very fun, unique, almost out of pocket way that actually works off the character and story. Of course, you also have Detective John, that the one who sort of figuring out what Tenderwolf is doing this and the reason why he's doing besides being detective, because all points out to the sort of main evil villain called the Barber. And Tenderwolf wants him so bad to be murdered because the situation he puts himself. You see why he become this sort of a spirit of vengeance now words, because Tenderwolf is all about, at least the spirit who take over Elias, is about peace, justice, to cleanse his anger. But the only problem is it has a sort of double-edged sword. When he got possessed of the spirit, he also reunite his anger, his frustration of justice, to finding the Barber who killed all his friends and family for some apparent reason, and we don't know. But I love it. It's sort of the kind of the performance of Timberwolf, how evil, sinister, almost kind of like I said at the beginning, almost like guts sort of way that he is threatening. When he come out, it feels something like the new movie of Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. Remember the wolf of that movie? He basically take the whole scene. Remember how much swag and power and elegance he has controlling the scene. Every time he appears, you know something bad is about to happen. Imagine that with Tenderwolf. The same thing. That sort of Uzi a performance. Uzi, he is a threat. Tenderwolf is a scary character, but they cut him off in the right moments to make him a little bit comical or understanding. This still is Ladybug and Cat Renard, not a sort of edgelord take, because they point out Elias could be legitimately wrong. And this is the whole point of the all three chapters. Understanding Elias and understanding maybe this type of vengeance is not the right one. Maybe concerned or really understand the situation. But again, you get what his frustration and anger, the reason why to take his vengeance of the people who took his family. But it done in a very cinematic way. I think that's the best way to describe it, because it is that dark, but it doesn't feel out of pocket. It's almost the presence or glazing of this character. When he was illustrated in this AU, you felt it. You felt how strong he is. You felt how dangerous. You felt this character completely changed the game every single time he appears. And he's not invincible. He can get shot and get hurt, but even that, you understand how dangerous he is. You also understand how Marinette is super important to calming this character down, to understanding, to see his ways, and it made me direct him the positive way. And I think this is the reason why it sticks to me so much. And it handle not just Marinette, of all the characters. I thought they had an extra layer with Cat Renard, with Adrian, that he was completely scared and shook with Timberwolf almost attempting to kill him twice. In fact, in certain moments, if left alone, you feel he still feels broken. What he did to him, almost got killed by Tenderwolf. You feel that layer of uncertainty. He doesn't have his confidence anymore. He's just doubting himself because of that specific situation, that sort of trauma. It just works so well. He never feels forced, out of touch, or out of pocket. Everything feels right. In fact, I highly recommend watch the dub version of this comic. They have all 3 chapters. Every single page was dubbed. Even add some extra things. They actually made it work even more because the dialogue, the audio, they understood this AU pretty well. But they only, unfortunately, this sort of AU ending abruptly. Like, nobody really knows why the creator decided to stop. Even that he has no controversy, no nothing. He just decided to stop, and that's it. And that's sort of unfortunate because it was really good. It's almost amazing. This could be its own real comic on the original IP from it. It's that good. It's almost whatever the original show does, it never compares what this AU did. Even that it's not finished. Even that it has a sort of a mystery not really solved or answer any questions like who is the barber, why he wanted the family of Tenderwolf, who is River's father, how he joined his sort of gang, who is Detective John, that he knows the truth, but he won't tell for some apparent reason. We just don't know. Everything is set up for more questions and answers, but unfortunately, it didn't answer it. And that's sort of the frustrating thing, because this thing, it is really good, is that I want answers. In fact, some of the fans who love this ask anyone, can you write something like this and give it a sort of an ending because we need it? In a way, I totally agree. But I also do recommend read this 3 chapters. It's a long one. You could actually finish it under maybe 2 hours because it is really, really long. Or if you don't want to read it, you can watch it on YouTube dubbed. And like everything is dubbed pretty well. It's really elevate the material. But other than that, that's the only thing I can say. It's just I kind of wish it had an ending or conclusion or something, because this could be easily 5 or 6 chapters because the pacing, everything. Of course, I have to warn you, the first chapter is slow because they have to reestablish, oh yeah, this is like a normal episode. And when Tenderwolf reappears, you feel it. You get why they have to have this long chapter to fit Tenderwolf. They had to set up in a way to be believed, and it executed perfectly. It's just I feel a little long, but that longness does pay off in the very end. It's that it all depends on you how you felt about it. On top of this, I love every single new character they develop. Even they have other characters supposedly the creator wanted to introduce, but they couldn't because they lost interest. But all of that, I still highly recommend it. Just be warned, it doesn't have an ending. You just sort of live off the air like, I wanted so much more. I don't know, have you heard of Miss Ladybug, the Wild Hunt AU before? Because it was really stupid popular. It was, I think you could find it on YouTube. Most of them close to passing, some close to 500,000, some just 100, less than 500,000. But you get the idea. They have popularity, just grasps your attention, wondering what this is. Is it any good? It is good. I highly recommend it. Of course, you have to realize it's not having ending. But that's all I can say. I don't know how you felt about this. Do you enjoy it? Do you love it? Do you really seen this before or remember this specific AU? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.